Hi guys, it's Alice Monique at Vintage Galley Teen. So I'm starting up a new project. I have a swap coming up as far as the exchange goes, and I signed myself up for the Dreamcatcher, and I'll be using these embroidery hoops. I'm only going to use one part because I feel like I'm wasting the other one if I use them both. I've seen where they combine them both, but I don't want to do that. I want to save this one for another one for the future. But I was playing around with the ideas of what colors I should use, what scheme I should go with, what style. I was liking the shabby chic, which is with the pastels, but I started coming across like this burlap, the white doily, the lace. I think this one came from Laura Little Lulu Scraps. She sent me this with other fun items like this lace, and I'm kind of liking this look, like the neutrals. So I'm going to go with that color scheme. I'm going to use, like I said, one part of the the embroidery hoop. Then I'm going to use the laces and the doilies, and then I'm going to use this floss also. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew this part. I guess let's get into it as well, and then little by little I'll be telling you the supplies, and also at the end of this video, like at the very bottom where the info box is, I'll give you the list as well, so if you want to see all the stuff I use. So what I'm planning on doing is I want this to be hanging like so. So this is, I'm going to cut these in strips, but not just yet, because I want to sew this together on top. And you don't have to sew this if you're going to join along and do your own Dreamcatcher. You can just use some glue, some adhesive, and glue that down like that. I love sewing, so I'm just going to sew it together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this about so. I've never sewed burlap, so this is going to be my first time doing this, and so that's why I chose to get this floss. It's this I got from a thrift shop, but you can find this at Hobby Lobby. I think they're like 47 cents. And what you can do is you can separate them. There's a lot of little threads here, and you could separate them to choose your thickness. And what I'm gonna do is I think I'm gonna keep it as, let me see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I'm gonna keep it at 3 of them. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it at 3, so I'm just gonna separate that. I'm gonna get a good amount right there. So I'll keep that at 3, which is 3 little threads in there. And like I said, you could separate them and use them as thick as you want. I do want my needle to be a little bit on the larger side as far as the hole goes. And I will thread that through. I like to, I guess, I'm not sure if this is called double knotting or double threading. I don't know. I usually just double it up like that. I remember when I was first doing this, my husband's like, why are you doubling it like that? You can just single it. I don't know. I guess since that's the way I was taught, I've always done it like this. And when I saw him singling, I wasn't aware that you could do that. I was like, what are you doing? So yes, my husband does know how to sew and mend a little. So all I'm going to do is put that just like so. Let me get that closer. And like I said, I've never sewed this together, so I'm just playing around with this idea. And I'm just trying to create a knot right there to secure the thread. Okay. And so I've already done that, but you know what? I'm just going to double it, just in case. Okay, let me turn it this way. And then that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to continue going through here. Let me just see how it looks, so it doesn't look that bad. And I chose this color so it could be, you know, in the brown tones. And all I'm going to do is go in there and go in and go down and up And then right on this area, all I'm going to do is stick that through to create a knot. I'm going to do that again. Go down and up, and then go here and just create like a knot. And so I'm going to continue doing that. Okay, so I came already to the end of it. I ran out of thread right here because I cut it too short. So you want to get a good size so you can come all the way to the end. But so I did half of this and then I came the other way. And all I'm going to do is, after I finish at the end, I just snipped it at the very top. And I'm going to knot it several times just so it could be secure. And then I'll just clean it off by cutting the excess off. So I will cut right there, and then on this side right here. Oh, you know what? I think I need to tie that too. Okay, so this is what it looks like. It's already sewn right there, and this is how I'm going to want it because I'm going to center the doily right here. But I want to create the loop on the top where my partner will be hanging it from. So I'm going to create that with this. I'm not sure exactly what this is called. It might be like a really very thin jute. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to string that through. I was going to try and sew it in, but I noticed that the little squares right here are large enough to stick that through. Maybe not. Okay, let me play around with this and then I'll come back. Okay, so what I'm going to try is I got a needle that has the larger hole right there, and I'm stringing that through. See if that fits. And I just want to feed it through here so I can create a loop. Okay, so that did work. Okay, so I'm doing that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie the knots on here. Let me see how that works out. Okay, so all I did was I cut a little bit off, and that way I could tie the knot. So I am going to make my knots right at the end, and I want it to land like right there. And what I did on the other side, I did it 3 times, so I'm going to do the same here. And then I'll just cut that off. I might dab a little bit of glue at the end. Let me do that right now. Okay, so all I'm going to do is get a little bit of B6000, and that way that knot stays in place. So I'm just going to put a little bit there. And the same on the other side. So I'll let that dry for a little bit. I just dab some glue right there and dab some more right there. And let me let that dry for a little bit. Okay, so I got some beads and my doily and that embroidery floss and my needle, and what I'm doing is I'm trying to attach the doily to the burlap to the embroidery hoop. And these beads I got from Steffi, so thank you, Steffi. I'm using the beads that you gave me this time around. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to create a knot, I guess, I guess so I can, I don't know what it's called, but you know, kind of like a loop right here. But I don't want the string to show up. Just a little is okay, but I want beads on there showing up. So what I did was, with that embroidery floss, I got 2 strands on this one. I didn't do so much on that. And I got my needle, and I'm gonna just thread that through like so. And then I picked a section, like right here I got this section. I'm going, I guess, to this section now. Well, that's a little bit hard. Let's see. I didn't really see how I was going to do this part. And then all I did was I strung it through, but I separated as well. So I'm going to pull one of these out, and they both came out. Okay, that's not supposed to happen. I just want one, so hold the other one in place, and I want one on the outside like that. I want the other one like so, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie them together. And so I want one on this side and one on the back side. And the needle is right here, so I'll just pull the needle this way. And all I did was I kept the needle on one side like this, and I got some beads. Let me see. Some of these are a little bit on the smaller side as far as the hole goes. Like that one's a good size, and this one. So all I did was I got my bead and I strung it through the needle, and this one's going to be in the back, so it's going to show up just a little bit like that. And I think that's all I need for this side. And on this side, then I'm going to string up the thread right there. And I'm going to string my beads through. Let me get one of these. And get some of these crystals in there. Let's see if that's all I need for this. Okay, that's all I need for that. Okay, so then I'll just pull that needle out. And all I want are the beads to show a little bit at least. And right there, all I'm going to do is just tie that up like you would a shoelace. And I'm going to do that like maybe 4 or 5 times. And then I'll just cut the ends of that right there. And I know I'm going to cover this with something, I think, but I just don't know what right here on this side. But so let me focus out. So this is more or less where I'm going with this. So I want this to be holding on to the hoop, but I also want the beads to be there as well. So I'm going to continue doing that. Okay, so I decided that on this side, right in the center, I'm not going to put a string of beads like I did here. I'm just going to tack that in place. So I'm going to sew that through. And again, if you are not a sewer and don't care to do this, all you have to do is place everything with adhesive. I think that would be easy as well. I'm just choosing to sew because I know how to sew and I like to sew. But so I think I'm going to tie that up. I'm not sure exactly how. I'm trying to figure this out. I want to create like a knot. And so you just pull that through. And let me cut that right there. My needle is kind of big, so I'm just trying to tie a knot there just so I could secure that right there. And then I'll just separate them, and then I'll tie another knot just like you're tying a shoelace. And that's it on that. Okay. Okay, so I just wanted to show you again. I've already done most of the beading. I just wanted to show you one more time. All I did was I went in through one of the holes of the doily, and then I came out through the burlap, then back up from the burlap, and then I am separating the thread, keeping one on one side and one on the other. So you have one on top like this and one on the bottom, and you're going to bring that underneath the embroidery hoop, and then you keep that needle right here because you're going to string the beads through there. And I'm going to get this one and then this one, and these are going to be in back right there, kind of peeking out. And then you take your needle and go to the other side and just thread that through, and then get your beads and string that. Let me see, I think I need one more. I'll just need one more. I guess I'll get another crystal. And then right there, what you're going to do is just tie, keep the beads in the back, and keep these up there. You're just going to tie that up, just like you're tying your shoelace at the very beginning of that, tying the knot like that. And I did that for like 4 or 5 times throughout the entire hoop. And that's it. I'm just gonna cut that up, and that's it. Okay, so I just want to show you so far where we're at. So we're right here. I already strung the beads through. I'm not sure if I want something right here like that, but I feel like it does need something there. And of course this is still long like that. So let me see what else I'm going to do right here. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to cut the bottom part as if strips, like so. And so it kind of looks a little like flowy like that. So that's what I want so far. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some lace, and I'm going to start tying that up. So let me see how that looks. Okay, so I do like the way that looks. I'm not sure if I'm going to cut this yet, you know, trim it down, but all I did was I got my lace, and I am going to tie a knot, and I double knotted this. I just have that facing downward, and I want them to be about that length right there. I think that's perfect for another one. Okay, so that looks pretty cool so far. So my video died in the previous video, and I don't know where I left off, but I'm going to continue. I was just showing how I trimmed the edges of this right here, and I was going to get some more ribbon. So I found some beads that are I think they are a little vintage. They're like 80s, but some of the, I guess the coloring is coming off, so I thought this would be awesome to give it another look. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the hardware off because I can reuse some of this stuff again. And that's all I'm doing. I'm just getting my pliers and taking that off, and then I'm just going to measure this, and then I'm just going to snip it right there. And the same with this side. I think what I'm going to do, how am I going to attach this? Let me see how I'm going to attach this. I'll be right back. Okay, so I tried out the pearls, and I've been trying to play around as to whether to glue it onto the hoop or to tie it around. And so I tied it around with just some thin satin ribbon. This one's a little bit thicker. I just had this from a, I think another little card that someone gave me. And so I just had a little piece of that. But so all I'm doing here is I'm getting the satin ribbon, and I'm just tying it right in between where the string of the necklace is at and the bead is at, and I'm going to double knot that right there. So that's one side, that's the end of it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm not going to leave this too long. I want it in the middle. So with the other end, I'm just going to come in, and I think I want it right about there. I'm just going to tie it up. I guess like right there. Yeah, I like that. And so I think I'm going to triple that one. And to all of these, I'm just leaving the knot down below, just so you don't see that when it's being hung up. And right there, I'm going to snip this end right here, and then right here, snip this end. And this I could use again, so I'm going to use that for this other one. So let me do that. Okay, so I'm really liking the way that's coming out. So that's the way it's going to be hanging, and so I'm still going to add more ribbon, so let me get that going. I just wanted to show you the way it came out. Okay, so I have this thicker lace right here, and it's a little bit more on the, I guess, off-white tone, so I'm just going to add that. I already added. On this side, I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. All I do again is I'm knotting it. I'm doing a double knot on these. And just make sure the knot's facing downward. Tighten that. And then I'm just snipping that there. So far, so good. Okay, let me go get some more lace. Okay, so I actually have this from a thrift finding, and I think it's so pretty. And I hadn't noticed that I left this facing down. It was kind of like accidentally done, but it kind of worked out. So all I'm going to do is open that loop up, and I'm going to just place that like a dangling crystal on the bottom. So that kind of worked in my favor. I hadn't even seen that. And then what I did found was these other, I have like a stack. I wasn't even sure what to do with them because the coloring was not good anymore, but I didn't feel like getting rid of them. And so it's a good thing because I added them right on this side. Here, let me zoom out. And there's that crystal dangling in the bottom. So that kind of worked out good. So I'm going to try to see if I can find some more of these with like the loop already in place and ready for me, so I can add another crystal to another side. So let me continue looking for other little pieces like that. Okay, so all I've been doing is I've been getting this satin ribbon. It's like a, I guess, off-white tone, and all I've been doing is been filling in like the little gaps and just been tying it up, double knot, just to make the bottom part look a little bit fuller. And snipping it there. And so I'm going to continue just filling in, see how I have right here and right here. So I'm just filling in any little gaps just so there won't be any gaps here. And I'll come back. Okay, so I think I'm pretty much done filling the bottom up. I'm not sure if I'm going to add more stuff to it. But what I did get was this ribbon. And let me show you. It says decorative trim. And I'm not sure, it doesn't have a brand on it. Sewing Notions, doesn't really say, but it's this like canvasy, let me see what the material is. Tan pearl jute. Okay, it says 80% jute, 10% nylon, and then the plastic beads that look kind of like pearl. So I wanted to add that trim right on the loop. So with this, or for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the hot glue gun, and I'm going to just put some on the loop and just start adhering that. And I'm sticking it in a little bit just to hide the edge of that. And so I'm going to continue doing this all around. I just want to hide all like the string right here and hide all this other stuff right here. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to continue that throughout all around. Okay, so I have this embellishment right here, and I got this from a swap and I really like it, but I think this is going to look so pretty, like right centered right there, just to give it some definition on the whiteness. So I would have sewn this together, but it already has a magnet, so all I'm going to do is add some glue to it. And I'm just going to stick that down there with a hot glue. And hopefully that stays. I've never worked with hot glue and I guess fabric. And so hopefully that stays. Okay. Okay, I think I'm pretty much finished. I'm very happy with how my dream catcher turned out. I'm really loving it. I love all the different fabrics that I used. And so let me just show you. At the end I did add this other little like crystal like, and all I did was I tied a knot at the end of that satin trim right there. And so yeah, I hope my partner enjoys her dream catcher. And I'll be sending this off, and I know this is going to be a long video, so sorry. I'll leave pictures at the end. Stay tuned. Bye.